Hi guys, Foxy here. This will be part 8 to What If Izuku Was a Vigilante. Now, before I start the video, guys, please pick what if Izuku was a zombie or what if Izuku was a ghost. Please pick, because soon I'm just going to pick for myself, and yeah. Yeah, that doesn't really sound convincing. Ah, dang it. So, shoot. Yeah, my voice is deciding to be a brat to me today and not give me my good voice or something. We're just gonna start the video before I embarrass myself to a new level. Our POV. It starts with the rain and howl, lightning boomed and Piercing crackled black
throughout the sky.
eyes stared
The sky
into
itself was
glowing
dark.
emerald ones.
It was not gray, it was
Both of them
black. You
stared at
barely
each
could
other,
see in front of
waiting
you.
and
The only
waiting.
light you could
Izuku
see
growled,
was the light
and Eraserhead
posts and the
stayed silent
buildings.
while analyzing Izuku.
Izuku hid behind a wall, while Eraserhead was on the other side. They stayed quiet, waiting and waiting. The rain officially soaked Izuku to the bone. Izuku felt a bit bad for Eraserhead. Izuku loved the water, craved it at times. But Eraserhead, he was practically a cat. Soaked to the bone with freezing cold water, yeah, Eraserhead will get a bit pissy.
Izuku was mulling over Eraserhead's question. Why was he doing this? Well, the simple answer would be to feed myself. But Izuku knew it was something else. It was something ingrained into his DNA for some unknown reason. Izuku squeezed his eyes shut and went back in time. He remembered when he was 4, and they told him what his quirk was. Izuku hopped around like a little bunny, saying to his parents, "I want to be a hero, a hero." They laughed and giggled. Izuku barely could remember their faces. Barely. His mom was like a haze. He could see the outline, the colors, but couldn't see her. His dad, on the other hand, he could see him, but it was also a bit hazy. But Izuku does remember his hair, how soft it was, how his skin would glow, a very, very delicate white. Izuku remembers his father more than his mother, just a bit. But Izuku remembers that he wanted to be a hero who saves the day, who makes people feel safe. I don't make people feel safe. I get rid of the villains, and I feed myself. Izuku thought darkly to himself. Izuku opened his mouth and decided to speak a bit of the truth. The streets need to be cleaned up, and I'm doing the job that heroes fail to do. Izuku spoke. His voice staying the same. Ozawa spoke up again. Then why do you take bites out of your victims? Izuku couldn't help but throw his head back as a burst of laughter left him. It was hysterical. It was funny. The villains, the victims. Yeah. As if. Those villains decided to do bad, and I need to feed myself. I never go too far. What victims? Izuku finally spoke up. Those are villains. Villains that do bad. But why do you take a bite out of them? Well, it's a part of my quirk, I guess. I need human flesh, and where else should I get it? I've gotten it from sites that will give you flesh or whatever you need for your quirk. Yeah, and that takes money. Big bucks.
and I currently have $0 on me. So, well, villains make the perfect meal, don't you think? Eraserhead stayed silent. As the rain boomed and thundered, they just sat there, waiting and waiting. Finally, after 30 minutes, Izuku got tired of this. Eraserhead, I'm gonna drag you back somewhere so you don't freeze to death. I am a monster, but I'm not a heartless one. So, out of my own kindness, I will be bringing you to the police station. Gotcha? Izuku spoke as he got up. Izuku rounded the corner, and Izawa was there, but he seemed to be in a haze. Odd. Izuku spoke as he went closer to Eraserhead. Izuku was on guard. He knew Eraserhead's style a bit. Eraserhead always was in the shadows and was always the one to attack first, just to get the jump on the villains. So Izuku would chalk it up to Eraserhead to play asleep or dazed, just to get him. So Izuku pulled out a tiny knife. It wasn't big or massively sharp, but it would get the job done in case if anything happens. Now Izuku's in front of Eraserhead, and now feeling the back of his head. Izuku could feel hot liquid dripping over his fingers. Izuku brought it to his face. Izuku does have night vision, so it was clear as day to him to see what was on his fingers. And thanks to the lightning that decided to strike, it became more apparent. Blood. Blood dripped down his fingers and hit the ground with a plop. Izuku wasn't scared of blood. It actually made him hungry, but also sick. Izuku shook his head, trying to dissuade the memories away from him. Fine, I'll take you somewhere safe. Izuku took Eraserhead and brought him to the forest. The forest changed drastically when Izuku got there. The forest was now tall and proud. Green leaves spread all over the place, showing life. The trees grew thicker and taller. The bark was rough and didn't tear easily. The ground was solid, and the earth was black. Life glowed around here. Bugs buzzed around, birds chirped, and deer walked carefully. Izuku loved his little home. And there was a cave. It wasn't big or nothing, but it was something for Izuku to live in. Izuku made sure to cover Eraser's head's eyes. Izuku didn't want his spot being located. He loves this tiny little nook. It made him happy. Once Izuku finally got into the cave, he set Eraserhead down and started a fire. Izuku might love water, but he also was he could get a cold. And Izuku does not want a cold, especially since now he does not have any medicine to help him speed up the process. So the only way for him to make sure he doesn't get sick is to stay warm. And that's why he has a bunch of firewood in his little nook and cranny. Izuku lit the fire, and it blazed with light. It was orange with a bit of gold in it. It was beautiful and shined in the dark. Izuku admired the light. He admired how it glowed and how it was so very warm. After minutes of admiring the light, Izuku went to Eraserhead. He peeled off Eraserhead's clothes one by one. Then he put the clothes by the fire, wanting them to warm up quickly. Now, Eraserhead is sprawled in front of him. Izuku admired the scars that litter his body, kind of like a... It was like a painting. Each scar told a story. Each scar told of a battle or a mistake. Izuku likes scars because of what they mean. Izuku looked down at his hands. They were scarred and mauled. When he was picking up trash, some of the trash was too sharp and would cut Izuku's delicate skin. In his human form, his skin was delicate and soft, easy to break, easy to bruise, easy to scar. Izuku sighed as he put his hands away. Izuku rolled Azawa on his stomach, trying the damage to the back of his head. Izuku carefully inspected the wound. It was not deep or superficial. Yeah, head wounds would bleed a lot, Izuku mumbled to himself as he gently prodded the wound. Izuku huffed as a gush of blood rolled down the neck over his fingers and made Izuku hungry again. Izuku growled. Ugh, why at all times now? I couldn't eat today because of you. Izuku kicked Azawa in the stomach. Yeah, Izuku really did not like Eraserhead right now. Begrudgingly, Izuku got up and looked throughout his piles of junk. Soon he found a bunch of bandages that could easily wrap around the head and make sure the wound would not get affected and Eraserhead would not die from blood loss. Carefully, Izuku wrapped the man's head up. Now Izuku waited and waited. Then something hit Izuku in the face. Shoot, he's gonna be cold! Izuku dove right into his pile of trash again and looked until he found a somewhat intact blanket. It was one of his favorites. It was an ocean blue color with little mermaids and cats. Izuku thought it was just a misprint, but Izuku loved it. He loved this misprinted blanket. It had two of his favorites on there. Or, well, three. The blue for the water, mermaids because they were similar to him, and cats because Izuku loved them. How their face looks so cute, but yet so... When they get angry and they pout, it's just adorable. Izuku's heart sinks each time he sees a cat, and he vows to never eat a cat or a puppy. They're just too cute to be eaten. And begrudgingly, again, Izuku threw the blanket over Eraserhead. That's my frickin' blanket, Izuku growled to himself. Yeah, Izuku is really attached to that blanket. Soon, Izuku falls asleep, and night turns to day, and Izuku gets up when the sun hits the rock. Izuku is always up early in the mornings to take a quick swim and to work, to do things that he loves to do, which involves walking around the forest, fixing the forest, and now he's scouting for a new place to hide, since Eraserhead is here. Izuku looks over the man's clothes. They're dry, but they do have some ash and soot on them. Izuku huffed as he carefully moved the clothes onto Eraserhead. Making a 12-year-old do this shit. This is dumb. I am so angry I can't even talk right now. Curse you. Izuku mumbled a bunch of words to Eraserhead. Izuku was furious. Then when Izuku tried to take his blanket away from Eraserhead, but the man held onto the blanket, and Izuku squawked. Izuku growled even more as he tried again and again to yank the blanket away from Eraserhead, but he couldn't. The blanket was in a vice grip, and Eraserhead was waking up. Izuku panicked. As soon as he let go of the blanket and waited for a few minutes, Eraserhead was back to sleep. Izuku growled. God dang it. Izuku looked at his hoard. Okay, I can't run. I don't have enough time to move everything. Izuku started to cry. Izuku was never a big fan of crying. The only times he cried was when his dad died. And the other times he cried was from happiness. From Daboga Beach being cleaned up, and from this place also regaining life. Now Izuku is sad, heartbroken, because he's leaving his hoard. Everything that he's collected over the years, everything that he took claim to is now going to go. Not everything though, but he doesn't like it. Izuku went through the piles, picking up the stuff that he can carry. He found a backpack. It was big enough for his small body. Quickly, Izuku went through pile after pile. He grabbed a few pictures of his family. One was when he was born. It was a happy little photo, and Izuku loved it. The second one was when Izuku fell to the ground, and his mom was right beside him, holding his little hand. His mom had crocodile tears forming on the corners of her eyes, and Izuku also had tears from the corner of his eyes beginning. And his traitorous dad took a picture of that moment, instead of comforting his son, who tragically fell to the ground. Izuku growled, more in amusement than anything else. Izuku shook his head as he threw the picture frames into his backpack. Then he found an hourglass. The hourglass was mostly golden color, but the dragon head was a dark green with sharp blood red teeth and piercing blue eyes. Izuku loved it because each time the sand would hit the bottom of the hourglass, it would make this type of ting sound. And when they started to fall, it sounded like rain or something similar to it. Izuku loved it. It was one of the very few items he found around here. Then Izuku picked up a few stuffed animals. None of them were special. One was of a glowing green monkey. The other one was of a giraffe with all of the wrong colors. The black was red, and the orange was a teal color. It was an odd giraffe, but Izuku loved it. After a few minutes of going through the piles, he picked out what he needed the most. Everything else was basically junk he found cool. Scraps of clothing or rusted tools, just everyday items you would find around the place, Izuku just took. But now he's leaving it. Izuku was sad. Again, Izuku tried to grab his favorite blanket, but it didn't. He tugged, the more he could hear the fabric ripping. But Izuku was desperate. And He couldn't tear his blanket. He just couldn't. Even though he wanted to have his blanket back, he also wanted the blanket to be intact. There were some holes in it, and it was more or less dirt and grime, but Ezekiel loved it. Sadly, Ezekiel had to back off. But he decided to leave a note. There's no way in hell he is leaving his blanket to be thrown into the trash. If the man wants it so bad, he better take care of it. So carefully, Ezekiel wrote a note. You better take care of my blanket. I love this blanket very much. It's very special to me. You better wash it, take care of it, and treat it as if it's your child. Because one day I'm going to come back for it, and there's no way in hell you're going to keep it away from me. After Ezekiel was done writing the paper, he set it right under the man's head, so when the guy got up, he would easily find it. Ezekiel left right at that moment, running as quickly as he could, and try not to look back as tears started to fall. Even though Ezekiel was a brat at times, and a bit of a cannibal, he still was a child, still wants affection, wants a comfort item. And that blanket was one of his favorite blankets. So Ezekiel had a good goddamn right to be upset. But unbeknownst to Ezekiel and Eraserhead, they will meet, and Ezekiel will get his blanket back. And this will be the ending of part 8. I hope you guys like this ending or this episode. And guys, thank you for all the support. When I went to check my videos, I saw 1,000k likes, or 1k likes on the last episode, and trust me, I was surprised. I mean, to the point where I was kind of questioning if YouTube isn't pulling a prank on me. Because when I go to my videos and I don't click onto the video, it just shows these numbers, and they range from 0 to 3. But when I click onto the video, I see 1,000 likes. That is amazing. Thank you for all the support, guys. But before you leave, please choose. What if Ezekiel was a zombie, or what if Ezekiel was a ghost? I need to know, because I'm kind of about to just choose which one I'm going to go to. I hope you guys like it. Oh, and I forgot to do this. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm sorry I am late. My home has been taking up my time with you guys. I hope you guys can forgive me, and I hope you all have a good night or day. Toodles.